Hello everybody and welcome back to Lucky by Nature. So the turret crisis seems to continue, but it looks like Wildcard is coming up with some pretty good ideas actually, and so you gotta love them for that. So what exactly are they going to do? Well, it looks like they are going to be introducing a much bigger, better turret. As they call it, it's the advanced turrets, and it's the automated laterally at blah 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 blah. But anyways, that's a fancy name for it. But basically what they are saying is going to be bigger, beefier turret, and it's going to be about 4 times stronger than the current one. And as you can see here, we're aiming for about a 4-time increase in overall effectiveness and cost for these things. So what are they saying? Are they saying that it's going to cost 4 times more than the regular turret to make? Isn't that something that we all need, is to spend more time making this stuff? Grinding for materials? Of course. It looks like they're going to be disabling them for the rafts and boats. Construction costs and ammunition costs would be similar. I'm not sure what they're meaning by all this. I do know that if you think about it, you have 100 turrets. You have 4 sides that you got to protect on your building. So if you got 4 sides, you're going to have to divide the 100 turrets, which means that you're going to have 25 turrets on each side. So what exactly does that mean? Well, wouldn't that be the same as having 100 regular turrets on one side right now? And how does that do against Stego? But if we look down here, it looks like the Stego armor plates are going to have to block less damage from their either bullets or turrets specifically. That's exactly what I said on the last video, that they were going to have to do something to the Stegos, and I foresaw that this was going to happen. I mean, it was just a given. So basically, they're going to make it, hard again for alphas to get raided. And that's fine. If alphas work that hard to put their defenses up, then so be it. But my bigger question is, why aren't these alphas using their dinos? Most of them, I noticed that they put them on passive, which is just crazy to me. They depend so much on the turrets. All their dinos are on passive. Even when we were in PvE and we would go to war against another tribe, of course all of a sudden it would turn into PvP. But I noticed that PvEers fight completely different than PvPers do. Like for instance, we would put our dinos on aggressive, but have them follow one dino that didn't move. That one was on passive, and it was usually protected. And that way, anybody that would come in within a certain range, they would get annihilated by our dinos. And so we didn't depend so much on turrets, to be honest. We really didn't. I mean, the way we played was completely different. And that's why I always thought it was kind of weird that people, especially PvPers that never had experienced PvE, that in fact they didn't even know you could actually go to war in PvE. They would talk a lot of smack, and of course, since I played both, I already knew the difference. Initially, I had started with PvP, and I've always been a lone wolf, so it's not like I was gonna have this massive base and all that. That just wasn't my thing at the time. But I did notice the way people played was very different, going from PvP to PvE and back and forth. And so you basically had to come up with a lot of different ways of dealing with stuff, especially in primitive, where you didn't have weapons like you do, in normal servers. You didn't have rockets, you didn't have C4, you didn't have any of that. So you had to make it work without any of that stuff on PvP. And so when I ended up going to PvE, I realized, oh, okay, you can't really fight each other unless you know, they get pissed off at you and you get pissed off at them, and all of a sudden we would have these massive wars, and it was usually like, I don't know, around 10 different tribes against one massive tribe, which I guess you could consider an alpha tribe. But don't forget, in PvE you don't have such a thing as an alpha tribe unless something like that goes down. It was pretty ridiculous. The fight was insane, and the alpha tribe actually won. And I did notice that they put all their gigas on aggressive, but they would go and attack and come back. And so when I see PvP, and if I did go into, let's say, you know, these alpha tribes, if I managed to find a way, which I always would, either by using eggs or using the large bear traps, I could find my way all the way in, and then I would bust in, and there was nothing they could do. By the time that they would get there, I was already, you know, in and out. I mean, it's not like you know, as a single player, it's not like you can carry a lot either. The thing that I noticed is all their dinos were on passive. I could literally shoot them, and in fact, on some of these alphas, I ended up killing some wyverns. Because they were, they were not fighting, they were not doing anything, and I got into their building, and I just went ahead and killed them. And eventually they did end up finding me, and they killed me, but they lost like 4 wyverns. How? Why? Because they were on passive. And I noticed that none of the other dinos attacked me. You guys gotta think, you know, outside the box. But it looks like the stegos are gonna be nerfed, so, you know, which is good. But guys, you gotta think outside the box. There's so many different things you can do, and somebody always figures something out. But anyways, so it looks like they're looking at a lot of different things. The veggie cakes, you know, they might do something to that, which that will cause other problems depending on if the veggie cakes are nerfed as well, you know, for things like the third Xeno. The third Xeno, it's very useful when you go on boss fights, and you do depend on the veggie cakes. Adding the knockback, I think that's a pretty good idea. But ultimately, it looks like they're trying to come up with something real quick, a solution. Of course, like I said before, you're gonna have to grind. And the other thing that I'm thinking of is, are these new turrets gonna come out before the 5th, or are they gonna come out, you know, are they gonna implement this at the same time? If that's the case, that's gonna give people time to jack with people, because it's gonna take a while to get these things going. So I mean, that's just a few questions that we're gonna have to see what they're gonna do. So ultimately, we will see what happens. But that's it for me, guys. So until next time, keep surviving.
My work saved the human race.